I'm Keen Red Elk with the Purdue Police Department. I've been here. Am I okay? Oh, okay. You're doing this. So oh, okay. I've been here at Purdue for 18 years as a police officer, 26 years total in the greater Lafayette area. I came here from a small town up north called Delphi, but prior to that I was with the Sheriff's Department here as a deputy. Purdue has been an absolutely awesome place to work. I've loved it in the 18 years I've been here. And a little tidbit of information, in 18 years that I've been a police officer at Purdue, I have never ever been a member of the COREC until 1 month ago. I just joined the COREC, huh? Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. So, and my wife and I are taking advantage of it, and really, really great facility. So, we're going to move on here this afternoon, and we're going to talk about something that seems to be we hear about more and more and more. And over the course of the last 1 or 2 decades, violence in our workplace has seemed to increase. So much so that OSHA has actually created they've used a code in a United States code in OSHA that was typically used for like putting ladders in a safe place and keeping your environment safe. They now also use that for workplace violence because they're finding that a lot of the incidents of workplace violence are showing pre-recognizable hazards. And so in other words, what the OSHA is saying is that if we are seeing things, if we are seeing things displayed by people in our environments and we do nothing about it, and they determine that's a recognizable hazard, and somebody gets injured or killed by that person, OSHA can come in and cite us for that violation. So just a little bit of interesting. Now when I say the words Columbine to you, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? A bunch of people getting killed. Absolutely. Sure does. If I say Springfield, Oregon, what's that mean? West Paducah, Kentucky, what's that mean? Doesn't really mean a whole lot as Columbine does. Columbine seems to be the word that we associate with active shooters in schools and things like that. Well, Columbine changed our way of thinking. It changed how we do things, our procedures. Not only us as police, but you as the public and as the citizens. So my question to you is why? Why did Columbine change our things? West Paducah, Kentucky and Springfield, Oregon are just 2 out of 7 school shootings that took place in the 3 years prior to Columbine. You hear me? 3 years prior to Columbine, there were 7 school shootings throughout the United States for a total of 15 students killed. But Columbine was the one that changed things. Why? What'd you say? Media. Absolutely. Media. Now, that doesn't mean that none of these others were televised. They sure were. But what happened with Columbine, well, normally what happens is when media is involved, we're sitting at home at night watching it on the 6 o'clock news and we're saying, oh, wow, that's too bad. What a shame. What's society coming to these days? The incident happened. The incident ended. And now we're watching on the news. But what happened with Columbine is we watched it happen live. We watched it as the police were showing up. We watched it as the police had the school surrounding. For those of you who remember it and watched it on TV or know what the reports are, what did the people see live on TV? What'd they see? People running with their hands over their heads coming out of the school and the police officers there with their guns drawn. They saw a young man falling out of a window, bleeding in the arms of waiting police officers on an armored car. And the people who were watching this live wondered, when is this going to end? 9/11, you all remember 9/11? We remember watching that live on TV. We watched how the planes hit. Some of us actually watched that plane hit. Whenever we watch it live and that fear of when is this going to end enters our mind, administration, government recognizes that fear and changes happen. 9/11 changed things. Folks, we've had hijackings for decades, ever since the introduction of the airline industry. 9/11 changed a lot of policies. I think that if it had not been broadcast live, we'd still have gone to war, but I don't know that we would have had the TSA. Okay? But that was brought, because it was box cutters. But that was brought in, I truly believe, because we watched it live. Now that's arguable, but let me give you something that's not arguable. For years, LAPD patrol officers and mid-level management were trying to get upper administration to buy them patrol rifles, AR-15s, semi-automatic M16s, because they told them we're being outgunned by the gangs on the streets out here. They have Uzis, they have fully automatic guns, they have ARs. All we have are our shotguns and our handguns. And the upper administration of LAPD said, sorry, you're not going to get anything like that. And then what happened in 1997? Anybody remember? In 1997, MSNBC, CNN, yes sir? Yeah, absolutely. For 44 minutes, we watched it live on TV as two armed gunmen held up the Bank of America in North Hollywood, California, and when they surrounded by the police, they came out with fully automatic AK-47 with drum magazines and lit up an entire block area. Dang near exploding police cars, injuring police officers and injuring citizens. Luckily, nobody died in that except gunmen, but for 44 minutes, we watched it live. And the public said, when is this going to end? What do you think LAPD did right after that? They gave all their officers got AR-15s. They got semi-automatic rifles in their cars. When I started in 1995, Purdue police, we are kind, we're friendly. We'll never have anything that resembles a machine gun in our cars. What do we have now? AR-15s and patrol rifles. Why? Not because we're trying to be scary, but we need the downrange firepower in the event that something happens. So that's why it changed procedures. So we learned some things from Columbine. Some of the things that we learned was that there's no notification process, or that there was no notification process in place for institutions, such as schools. When I was in school, we had fire alarms. Anybody have fire drills? When I was in school, we had tornado drills. Anybody have tornado drills? If you lived on the West Coast, you had earthquake drills too, right? Anybody from West Coast? Okay. Now, what I didn't have and what some of you had are lockdown drills, code red drills, active shoot, whatever your name was. We didn't have that. And because of Columbine, that was brought into place. So, a standardized notification system. First responders were outgunned in some situations. Okay? Some of the offenders had high power weapons and we didn't. No training for active shooter first responders. That's us. No training in active shooter response. Now, this came out initially that the officers were not properly trained. Looking back, that's actually the wrong words. These officers did exactly what their training told them to do in Columbine. They did exactly the way I would have done it back in 1999. When Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold started shooting in Columbine, within the first 12 minutes of the first shot being fired, a Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy arrives on scene at the front doors of the school and encounters one of the two gunmen and exchanges gunfire with the gunman before the gunman retreats back into the school. 12 minutes. Now, what'd that officer do? He didn't follow the gunman in, because we weren't trained to follow the gunman in the school. We were trained to get cover and stand by and wait for backup and wait for somebody else. And who was that? Say it. You said it. I said it. SWAT, exactly. So what these officers did was that first officer arrives. I've got shots fired. Other officers arrive, and what do? They go to the corners, and they're out, and they're holding a perimeter, keeping people from going in and watching for the bad people to come out. And they were doing exactly what they were trained to do. The problem that is that with every shot that is fired, what happens? Every shot that's fired inside that school, what's happening? Someone's possibly dying, or at least they're getting injured. So for the next, it was a total of 54 minutes before SWAT made entry into the school. Tactical intervention was too late, because that's how we were trained to do it back then. Since that time, officers around the United States, and here at Purdue, we train on it at least 4 times a year, active shooter entries. We're trained now, the shooter, first officer on scene, they can wait for the second officer, but that's all you do. 1 or 2 officers now make entry in that school, and what do? We go right towards the shots that are being fired. We have to walk by people who are injured or dying along the floor, because we need to get to the shooter and we need to stop that shooting. We need to neutralize the event, because as long as we do that, then we can stop other people from getting shot or killed. So that's how we're trained. With the whole tactical intervention thing, like I say, they did the right thing for what they were trained to do. I was a member of the Tippecanoe County Metro SRT team, or SWAT team, for 5 years. And in those 5 years, we had an average about 6 or 7 call-outs a year. And I can tell you that TV does no justice to SWAT. Because you watch these TV shows, you got all these officers sitting behind desks or driving around, and they're all SWAT officers, and all of a sudden their pagers go off as a SWAT call out, and what do? They're all right? I didn't run like that in SWAT. I ran like this. Okay? Did you get that on tape? All right, I appreciate that. What I can tell you is that every call that I had when I was on SWAT, except for one, took place when I was off duty and I was home with my family. Only one call was while I was working. So that means it is at least an hour to 2 hour time frame before we spool up and are ready to make entry on a SWAT call out. In one case, I had to take my kids all the way up to Carroll County to visit her, to my mom, and then come back down to go to the SWAT call out. So tactical intervention is not what we're waiting for anymore. The officers are making entry. No incident command structure in place. That deals with multiple jurisdictions. And I'm not going to go into that too much. Just understand when you get multiple jurisdictions involved, there kind of becomes a power play. And prior to Columbine, that was the case. Now, and I'm proud to say Purdue University takes the lead in this county as far as incident command. In fact, we're teaching an incident command school today, tomorrow, and Friday at our police department to agencies all around Indiana. So we're trying to teach people what incident command is like. Now let's talk about the actual active shooting incident. Most incidents are over in 5 to 7 minutes. The average is 12 because some incidents have gone into the 40-minute mark, things like that. But the actual incidents are most of the time done within 5 to 7 minutes. Before police officers arrive or as the officers arrive, that's when the shooters either kill themselves or are taken out by the police. The situation is spontaneous, and their actions are unpredictable. And I'm going to show you a video here in a minute what I mean by that. They occur in a target-rich environment. Is this a target-rich environment? You better believe it. There's a lot of targets in here. Active shooters want to reap as much damage in the shortest amount of time as possible before they realize that they're either going to have to kill themselves or be killed by police. Okay? In one incident prior to yesterday that I've researched, and there may be more, but the ones I've researched, there's only been one incident I found where the active shooter actually gave themselves up. Now that changed to 2 yesterday. Anybody know what happened yesterday? Yeah. New Mexico. A young man walked into a school gymnasium with a shotgun and shot 2 people. Now, something happened there that kind of dispels something I said here, but it's what I'm going to tell you is still accurate, and understand what I say. The weapon of choice is typically a handgun. Why? Yeah, it's small. It's easier to hide and things, but we also always have to be prepared for weapons with superior firepower and also explosives such as pipe bomb, things like that, sawed-off shotguns. This is the thing that was different from yesterday. I teach a workplace violence class as well. The workplace violence, we're dealing with normal aggressive individuals who are upset about something, and I teach people how to try to de-escalate those situations. Okay? And I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys about that at some point in time. But how to try to de-escalate that. Folks, in an active shooter situation, this person has already gone through it in their mind, and more than likely you will not talk that person down. I don't care if you've been to school with them since 2nd grade and you've been best buddies. When they're there to kill. And if you step out and go, whoa, now wait a minute, boom, they're probably going to kill you. Now, that actually changed yesterday because from New Mexico, a teacher actually walked up to the kid with the shotgun and got him to put it down and actually took it away from him. So he was able to talk him down. But trust me, that's one. So if I were you, I do not think that you're going to talk this person down. Be prepared to take cover, things like that. There's 2 common myths that we have with active shooters. The first thing is that it won't happen here. All right? Well, folks, honestly, complacency kills. If you get complacent with the idea that we are a safe community, and we are a safe community here at Purdue. We have a very proactive and coactive police department, but our demographics are virtually identical to Virginia Tech. And what happened to Virginia Tech? A massive shooting. The only difference between us and Virginia Tech is that Virginia Tech had the advantage of being surrounded by mountains. We're not. We're wide open. All right? So it can happen here. We yearly are investigating people and are keeping our eye on people who are at risk. They've not done any violent crimes. They've not committed any violations of the law. But for whatever reason, we are aware of them through different channels, and we're watching those individuals. We're keeping our eye on people. And the people that are closest to them are the ones who know what's going on. So we're always watching, we're always prepared. It can't be prevented. That's another myth. It can be. In almost every incident, there were multiple pre-incident indicators present. Okay? If it's predictable, it's preventable. If you see these indicators and you say something about it, we can very well possibly prevent it. So, what is one of the biggest things that causes people to snap? Mental health, yes. But what are the things with mental health that leads up to these mental health snaps? What is it? One word, one syllable, starts with an S. Stress, exactly. A lot of people get stressed out, especially when you're in college. You have a lot of pressures on you to do well. And when stress starts hitting, we start seeing some things with people. And when you start seeing different things in people that kind of concern you, you need to report it to somebody. Now, I'm just going to show you just a real quick, oh, I'm sorry. Let me come back to that here in a second. When you see some of these pre-incident indicators, and this is just a small smattering of what they can be. But if you start seeing things with people, then you need to be sure that you're reporting it someplace, to somebody, to your supervisor or to the police. I tell people that, well, they say, well, how do I know? When you get that gut feeling that something's wrong, that's when you know. When it causes you to cringe, oh, you know something's wrong. Is it okay to have a bad day? Anybody in here not had a bad day? Yeah, we've all had a bad day. Is it okay to have 10 bad days, 10 days straight? Yeah, maybe not. What'd you say?
I said finals.
Finals, yeah. If you start seeing that, then you need to be sure that you're notifying somebody, not to get them in trouble, but to get them help and to get yourselves help. Because what your supervisors can do is they can bring this in front of a behavioral assessment team that we have here at Purdue, and we can work with that individual. So if you start seeing things here, folks, people are on edge right now if they start doing this. See this one up here, appearance and hygiene issues? You've got somebody who is normally a clean individual and suddenly they stink. And you know that, and they're not getting any better as the days go on. There's something going on in their minds, okay? Preoccupation with violence. Let me go back to this other one now. I'm just going to leave them up there since they're already there. As we look at some of the pre-incident signs of some of the previous killings, preoccupation with mass murders. Who's Adam Lanza? Huh? Yes, sir.
Who's the shooter at the movie theater in Colorado?
No, that's Holmes. James Holmes.
Newtown.
Close, so Newtown. Adam Lanza is the shooter at Newtown. If you ever read the story about Adam Lanza and what they came up with him, what a troubled young man that he was. And there were all sorts of indicators there that led that not necessarily he was going to kill somebody, that he was very disturbed. The biggest indicator that he could possibly do something was he had a very big preoccupation with mass murder, specifically Columbine. And his therapist knew this. And the therapist said, well, we knew he was intrigued with it, but we didn't think it was a big issue. And what happened? He ended up killing 20 school children and 6 adults. Outbursts or threats. Dylan Klebold. If you watch some of the videos from Columbine, you'll see homemade videos with Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. And Dylan Klebold had just a fiery temper. Carl Pearson, he's the young man that shot and killed the girl in Arapahoe High School in Colorado here back in December. One of the things that he was in trouble for was because his temper would go off. And so he got in trouble with his speech coach for that. Mental health disorders. James Holmes had documented mental health disorders in Colorado. And the university police there knew about it and did no report. And of course they came under fire for it. Aaron Alexis, he's the shooter from the Navy shipyard. He had actual police documentation of his mental health disorders, and they still gave him security clearance to work at the Navy Yard. Oops, sorry, I'm not done. Preoccupations with firearms and death, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris from Columbine. Writing about the act, practically every one of them. Most of the times you will find, if you research a little bit, that they have written a blog about this, they have put it on some sort of social media. Adam Lanza, they are pretty sure that in a game room, he talked to people about what he was going to do in code. Things such as, be sure you watch the news on whatever day it is, because something big is going to happen in Connecticut. They think that was him. Why do they do that? Because what is the fun of going out and making a statement but not letting the world know that you're going to do it? Okay? So a lot of times they will blog about it. And anti-establishment beliefs against the government, Carl Pearson and Aaron Alexis. So these are things that you just want to be sure you're kind of keeping an eye on. Okay, so you see the signs. You see these different signs of things going on with people out here. Now what? Well, you want to report it. Well, who are you going to report it to? Well, geez, I don't know. Do I report it to my supervisor or do I report it to the police? There are three professions out here who I would say are experts in the law. What's one?
Police.
Okay, the police. What's another? Huh? Come on. Who are experts in the law? Who do you need to go to talk to about the law? Lawyers. And then there's a third. They're kind of like lawyers, only higher. Judges. Exactly. Judges, lawyers, and police. Well, if you want to get the advice from a judge, you've either got to be related to one or you've got to be standing in front of them going, yes, Your Honor. All right? If you want to get the advice from an attorney, you've either got to be related to one or you've got to shell out the cash to get the advice, right? If you want to get the advice of a police officer, hey folks, we're cheap and easy. We are free. We're here for you, okay? We don't charge you a thing. Now, how many of you are experts in the law here? Yeah, nobody. At least you don't know as much as we do. I give this real quick scenario when I talk to some general studies students when they come in at the beginning of the semester. And I'm going to use you two young ladies right here as an example. These two young ladies here are neighbors in a residence hall. She has a laptop, she doesn't. Okay? So she says, hey, can I borrow your laptop for the weekend? Sure, you can borrow my laptop. I need it back, okay? Okay. So she gives her laptop. The weekend passes, she goes home to South Bend, Indiana. When she comes back, oh, I left it at home. I'll get it for you, though. She goes back week after week. Why, do you live in South Bend? Did that happen?
I'm saying, why am I the bad one?
Oh, because you look it. I mean, I'm profiling, okay? Week after week passes. Month after month passes, and she's not getting her computer back, so much so she's no longer answering texts or phone calls because she knows why she's calling. So do we have a crime here? Yeah, what's the crime? Theft. Wrong. There is no crime. Why is it not a crime? See, everybody seems to think that. And when I was your age, I thought the exact same thing. This is actually a civil dispute. This is a breach of contract. She made a verbal contract with her and she broke it. Okay? Now, what I may do is she'll call the police. She's got my computer. Now, what we need to do is we need to explain to you, number one, this is not a crime. This is civil. But here's what we'll do. I'll call her up. Hey, what's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah? You lying to me?
No.
Okay, make sure. Hey, Sarah, you've got a computer that doesn't belong to you. You better get back or we may have to arrest you for theft. I'm lying. She doesn't know it. All right? I'll get it back. But I bring that point up because you guys are not experts in the law and things are going to happen and you don't know whether it's criminal or not. You don't know if you should report it. Your supervisors are here for the exact same reasons we are. You get that feeling in your gut. Some of you, your butt gets hot. Okay? You know who you're talking about. Okay? You get that bead of sweat up here, then you need to report that to your supervisor. You need to report it to the police. Why? Because at least we can document it. Maybe no crime's been committed, but we can document it. And that's huge. Folks, there's 6 steps of violence. This is not Keene Red Oak 6 steps. These are the 6 steps that are nationwide. There's the grievance, a problem. You got the promotion, I didn't. You got the job, I didn't. You got the girl, I didn't. Okay, I'm mad at you for some reason. We've all had a problem, and we've all gone to the idea phase. You got that promotion, I want something bad to happen to you. Everybody in this room has had step 1 and step 2. And if you say you haven't, you're lying. Okay? Now, what is the idea? I don't want to know. Okay? Because sometimes they're pretty grand. Okay? So we'll say for the sake that somebody got a promotion, I didn't, and I want to see them run over by a car. Okay? So here's my grievance, here's my idea. Step 3 is the planning phase. My planning phase is I'm going to watch how that person leaves work, watch where they go, watch what parking lot they park in, what way they go home, all that type of stuff. Then I'm going to go to step 3, preparation. I'm going to park my car now close so I don't have to drive a mile and I have to get them. I want to park a couple feet away so when they come by, bap, I can run over them. Okay? I'm pretty violent, aren't I? Yeah, sorry. 26 years on this job, what can I say? Preparation. And then it goes to the approach. I'm going to do it. And then finally the attack. I've done it. Where do the police get involved? Yeah, after the attack, down below the attack. But folks, if you, your supervisor, or the police get involved anywhere in here before the attack, you stop that attack. If you take out the planning, you stop the preparation. If you take out the preparation, you stop the approach. This is a team effort, folks. That's why it's coactive. It's you being the police with us and we being the police with you. When you see something, say something. They may not get in trouble, and that's fine, but we get documentation, and we might be able to take out the planning. We might be able to say, hey, you've got a problem. What can we do to help you out? Oh, man, I'm mad. Okay, well, let's talk about it. You take that planning out, and it goes away. Overall managed situation, how are you guys going to be notified if there's an active shooter in the co-rec? Radios. Okay, absolutely. We need to know who's in charge until the police get there. Typically, your incident commander will be your most senior person on scene. Okay? Michelle, Katie, whoever. Greg Boylan, most senior will typically be incident command. And then this is really important. You need to establish a meeting place for post-incident. In other words, we're going to talk about the 3 things you need to know if an active shooter happens. And if you manage to escape the area, we need to know where you're going to go, or you need to know where you're going to go. And your incident commander needs to know where that is too. Why is that important? Why is that important? Yes?
So that if someone goes missing, you all will know something.
Absolutely. Some of you are supervisors in here, and all of a sudden, Michelle's going to call you up, or they're going to meet with you at, let's say you guys choose Cary Quad Court as your meeting place. So that's where you're going to be. Michelle's going to go up to a supervisor and say, okay, who's missing from your area? And you're going to sit there and go, okay, well, Sarah's missing. Sorry, Sarah, I just got your name. Sarah's missing, and Sarah, we last saw her in room 116. I don't see her here. Okay, and Sarah and Michelle's going to turn that information over to the police so we know when we have to go in and start rescuing people, we're looking for Sarah and she was last seen in room 116. Okay, that's why that's important. The three things you need to know is, first off, get out. Escape is always your best option to do. If you don't have to be there, don't. If you've got a way out, get out. Look for all your escape routes. Know your escape routes. COREC has a building evacuation plan. Know what that is. And if you're locked into a room here and you're afraid that you can't get out that way, look at the idea of getting out the windows. Maybe it means breaking a window. But remember, if you break a window, you create sound, and create sound notifies the gunman that you're here. Not saying don't do it. I'm saying think about it. If there's only 2 of you in here and you don't mind dropping 15 feet down to the ground to get out, then have at it. But if there's 80 of you in here, you might rethink that. Okay? So think about all these things. What happens if you, leave your belongings behind. What happens if you have somebody who you can't, we're all going to escape. We've got an active shooter here and we're going out that door and we're going. And she is absolutely locked up. There will be people in active shooter situations who will be able to perform. Let's go, we got to go, and they're going to almost take the lead. And then you will have those who lock up because it's a terrifying event. What do you do with these people who lock up? Huh? Well, you might smack him. See, I told you Sarah was a criminal. Okay? If you're big enough, you might pick her up and carry her out. Okay? If you can't, you leave her. I'm sorry to say, but you don't let her slow you down. You got to get out. But there is one thing you can possibly do. Shove her on the ground. Get her down low and then take off. Leave her. But remember who it is and tell us, hey, in the Boilermaker room, we've got a girl that stayed there because we couldn't get her to move. We'll go get her. Okay? Leave your belongings behind. That's really important. Your purses, your backpacks, don't worry about them. My grandmother carried a purse with her wherever she went. When she went to the bathroom, she had her purse with her. You know? Leave it. I swear if there was an active shooter, Grandma would have been looking around for the purse. Okay? God rest her soul. I love her to death. Okay, we're going to talk about hideout next. And this is a 30-second video of Aaron Alexis at the Navy shipyard. Now I'm going to try to get this stopped a couple points, but this is him entering the garage in his, looks like a Prius. So he's in the garage. There he is going in the door right there. He's got the gun in the satchel there. Now, wow, come on. I hit the wrong one. Let me go back. Where's my thing here? Back. There we go. Let me do this again. Okay. Keep that going. Okay, he's going in. He's got the gun. Now he's taking the gun out. Now I want you to see something here. We have a door. We have a door. There's two doors right here. And watch what Aaron Alexis does. He's got a sawed-off shotgun. Walks right by one door. Oh, that one's open. And goes right on by. Goes down the stairs. Doesn't bother looking over the stair rail. Goes in. Notice at the end of the hallway, there's his targets. He's going after them. Goes by one door. Gets into a second. Now the video stops there, but what he actually does, he hops in there and just looks out and heads on down the hallway, totally bypassing all those other doors. If you are in a situation where you cannot get out, okay, the shooter is always looking for what? A target-rich environment. So the best thing you can do, let's say we have an active shooter out here right now and we can't get out. What are we going to do?
Lock the door.
Okay, lock the door. See if that's number one. Yeah, lock the door. How do these doors lock? Right now, does anybody know how these doors lock? Okay. Know your areas. Know how these doors lock. These might be a crash bar key and you don't have access to the crash bar. Okay? It might be simply just a little punch of a toggle switch on the door that locks it, and it may be a total separate key, or it might be a latch. Know how these areas lock. Why? Because an active shooter, to the knowledge of the FBI, has never breached a locked door. No, so if you can't lock it, blockade the door as well. Throw stuff in. Remember, as much damage as little time as possible. This is taking too much time. Now they may crank off a few rounds and then move on. Okay, so blockade the door. What next? What else? Make this room invisible. What are we going to do? Turn off the lights. How do the lights turn out? Do you know how the lights turn out? Hey, here at Purdue, there are a whole bunch of different light switches. I found that out. And they're not always just switches, but sometimes you got to do this little thing of holding it down or you punch it. I was doing this one time, and I said, okay, ladies, we're going to make this room invisible. Let's shut off the lights. And I ran over the light switch, and I looked, and I'm like, And I sat there, and I messed with it. I couldn't get the lights to shut off. I'm like, well, we're dead. You know, because I couldn't get it. I think in that, you had to like do a dance or something in front of the light switch just to get it to shut off. Okay? Know how your lights shut off because they are different. Stay away from windows so that you don't get illuminated. Spread out and be sure that you also stay low. So hide behind furniture. Why do you stay low? Whether prone out on the ground or get down, but what's one good reason to stay low? Yeah, you're a smaller target, and most shooters, when they come in, they're doing this. Okay, is he underneath my point of aim? Absolutely. Okay, so you stand a better chance if you stay low. Silence your phones. Okay, because here's what's going to happen. All right, who are two good friends in here? You guys are really good friends. Okay, you two. Okay, what's your name?
Brittany.
Brittany, and what's your name?
Liz.
Liz and Brittany. Liz and Brittany are best buddies. Okay? Liz is working, Brittany is not. There's an active shooter at the co-rec. Did I say Liz is working, Brittany's not? Okay, Liz is working. There's an active shooter at the co-rec, and Brittany hears about it. Liz can't get out. Liz is hiding out. She's done everything. She's shut off the lights. She's closed the door. Can't lock the door, unfortunately. But she's in a room where she's trying to make it as visible as possible. She's down on the ground hiding. Liz is there. And Brittany's like, an active shooter at the co-rec. Oh my gosh. I got to call. She calls, and what's going to happen? Nothing wrong with her calling because she's scared about her friend. But there's Liz. Oh man. Now you just let the active shooter know somebody's there. Now they may come through the door if it's unlocked. So be sure your friends will call you. Your family will call you. They'll text you, are you okay? Be sure that you silence your phones. And know the difference between cover and concealment. Anybody know what the difference between cover and concealment is? Yes, sir. Absolutely. Are you ROTC? Well, man, you should be. Excellent. Yeah. See this right here? This is concealment. All right? It ain't going to stop a bullet. All right? This is a little bit better cover. Okay? It may also not stop bullets, but this is a lot better cover than that. Both are good in an emergency situation. I just want you to understand the difference. Because if this goes ceiling to floor and you're hiding back here and the gunman starts shooting, you might get hit. So be sure you know and get low. Okay? Stay down. And then we're going to talk about the last resort. We're going to talk about takeout. We will never encourage you, understand what I'm saying? We will never encourage you to engage an active gunman or a stabber or whatever. We'll never encourage that. But if that gunman comes through the door, we also don't expect you to sit here like sitting ducks and take it. So if it comes to that point, get out was not an option. You're hiding, but it didn't work. They're coming through that door. Your other option is going to be takeout. And when that happens, it is a committed effort on your part. You need to be sure that when this happens that you're going to do this and you're going to do it full force. All right? So what are we going to do? I need a volunteer. And how about the gentleman in the back who knew cover and concealment? All right. What's your name, sir?
I'm Dylan.
Dylan. Okay. Like Marshall Dillon? No, I'm right. Okay. Am I too old? I just aged myself. Nobody knows Marshall Dillon? Oh my God. Okay. Go in that room there. Can I get you to back up for me just real quick? Or maybe just, walk around back there. Okay, now Dylan is our active shooter. Okay, now we're going to say that this actually is an entry into the room for purposes of what I want to show you here. Okay, so when I say active shooter, Dylan's going to come into the room and start just firing. Okay, ready? And I want you to watch what he does. Dylan, active shooter. He's taking out as many as he can. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. Big hand for Dylan. Take a bow, Dylan. There we go. Okay. That's very good. Now, Dylan did practically what every active shooter does. And what he did was very amateurish. No disrespect, Dylan. But because active shooters learn their techniques off of video games and movies, Dylan came in just like everybody else does, and here he is. Where didn't Dylan look? He didn't look this side. He didn't look that side. His peripheral vision, because where he was aiming, would have maybe caught somebody over here, but not here. I can't even see my hand over here. So he's coming in. When I was on SWAT, we're trained to grab the corners first. When you come in, first person grabs a corner, second person then grabs the next corner, and you sweep in. Active shooters don't do that. So with that, on a takeout situation, you're going to put a couple people on both sides of the door, probably your biggest people. And their job is to tackle this dude and take them down. Okay? And when that person comes through the door, one person's going to grab the gun and come down, and they're going to take out their knees, and they may break them. Who cares? Okay? We need to stop this attack. Now, we're talking maybe 4 or 5 people here. They can use weapons. What's a weapon in here?
A chair.
Yeah. Somebody fold up a chair and, be ready, and they come through, bam! bam, doing A-Rod on them without the drugs, okay? Let them have it. You people here who are hiding out, you can also help. How can you help? Distraction by what? Yell, scream, throw things at them. Okay? You have these water bottles, man, that dude comes through that door, you chuck that thing at him and you yell at him. That's what they did on United Flight 93. They used distraction techniques and they charged this person, the hijackers. So when this person comes through the door, stuff's flying at them, they're going to do this, and what's that going to? It's going to buy these people some time to get them. Now, when you get them down, understand that the attack has to stop. And if you're being honest with yourselves, you're going to tell me right now, but I want to kill them. Yeah. Absolutely, I understand that. Okay, in 26 years, I've had my share of fights and being injured on the job, and I just want to keep going at them. You got to learn to back off. Because if you get this person down, you get the gun away, and you have neutralized that gunman, that's where the attack stops. If you keep going and, oh, come on, you know, get some, you know. If you do that, you are, yeah, that's a police code word, just so you know. If you keep doing that, you open yourself up to criminal and civil liability. So once they're down, they're down. But until you get them down, it is a lethal force situation. If you have a letter opener or a knife and you have to, what do you call it, stick them, shank them, whatever. I'm going to stick you. Then you got to, okay? Whatever it takes, but you have to stop the attack. But once the attack stops, stop. You stop, okay? Any questions at all about active shooter? Yes, ma'am. Sarah.
Hold them down until
you hold them down. If you have a belt and you want to crank their arms behind their back and try to wrap their hands around, get the gun away from them, okay? Put it off to the side. If you have firearms experience, fine, pick up the gun and hold it on them, whatever you got to do. Don't shoot them, but hold it on them, okay? If you have to, okay, just to keep them safe. Call 911 and let them know where you're at and that you have a shooter, okay? Yes?
Have you ever had a situation where you had to play dead, or do you think that's a good thing to do, or no, don't play dead?
In Columbine, some of the people survived in the library because they played dead. Whatever you have to do to survive. That also happened in Aurora, Colorado. A couple of people in the theater, when they went down, they were shot and they actually acted like they were dead, and Holmes walked right on by them. So yeah, whatever you have to do. There are no rules to this game because they're not playing by the rules, so you don't either. If you have to play dead, then by all means. Okay? Anything else? Yes, Sarah.
So, first responders, I understand, but if you're locked in a room by yourself, can you like text 911 and say I'm stuck in a room and I can't get out, or
yeah.
How would that work?
Yeah, you can call. You can't text 911. We don't have that. We don't have that ability, unfortunately. But you can definitely call 911. Now, real quick, with that being said, understand that in the county, when you call 911, you're going to get West Lafayette, Purdue, Lafayette, or Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Department. And I think each one only has 3 or 4 phones dedicated to 911. So that's a total of 12 to 16 in the COREC. How many of those lines do you think are going to be full? Every one of them. Keep trying to call. If you don't have eyes on the shooter or know where they're at, they're going to get your information and they may have to hang up, because what that dispatcher is looking for is who can tell us where they're at. So you're in a closet, the shooter's in this room, and you tell the dispatcher, I'm in the Boilermaker room, the shooter is in here right now. They will keep you on the line, guaranteed. They're going to want to know what you want to know, okay? So don't be upset if they say, okay, we have to answer another phone, we'll be with you as soon as we can, okay, because they're getting a ton of calls. Excellent question. Anything else? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to COREC if this is your first time here, or first time here, new employees and everything. We look forward to working with you. We're here for you, honestly, as a police department, so no question is stupid. You're not the professionals we are. We can help you out. Okay, well, thank you, folks. I appreciate it, and have a great day. Did I do okay on time?